Go.
What's up, everybody? We are here revealing 3 new leaders from the starter deck 10. A very cool starter deck. You get 3 different leaders to choose from. The first one is this Monkey D. Luffy. Now, they're all 3 going to be red, purple, dual color leaders. Luffy is a 6K with 3 life, but his effect is really weird. You get an extra Dawn if you have 0 or 8. What do you think about this card, Chesko?
It's weird. I think knowing the card pool we know right now, I can't really say I'm that excited for it. However, I think we're going to get a card that synergizes with this effect, and it could be very powerful. But having 3 life is a huge detriment. I think we're going to get a really broken card to make up for that detriment.
Yeah, I think he's probably the weakest of all 3 of them.
No.
Now, the next leader we get is actually Eustace Kidd, which I think is probably the middle of all 3 of them. So he's a 5K leader with 5 life as a dual color, very powerful. But of course, there's always a downside, and his downside is during your turn, if you have 4 or more life, he gets -1K, so he's only a 4K. But when he's attacking, you can don -1 to give him plus 2K power. So still aggressive on your turn if it wants to be. Later in the game, he swings for 7 for free. All around, this just seems like a very solid leader. If the card pool allows it, this might be the one you go for.
Yeah, the once you have your 10 Don, that -1 is basically like irrelevant because you're always getting it back. So your leader is always base 7K, and that's incredibly
Mhm.
strong. Even in the mid game, we've seen Kaido is okay with like knocking off 1 or 2 Don here or there. So I think it's an incredibly strong effect. Yes, the downside of being weaker, but you do get an extra life, which means you get an extra card in hand. So I think it's pretty balanced in the early game, and then it will excel in the late game.
And in aggro formats, like you're going to be 3 or less life pretty quickly. So that
Pretty quick,
downside isn't
yeah.
even a downside for more than like your first attacking turn. Okay.
Exactly. You can combine this with Whitebeard. Your leader swings for 9K, and like that's
Oh,
just woo, pretty
for
good.
free with the Dawn left open at the end too.
Yep. For your radical
Oh
beam. Yep.
man, very powerful, very powerful. And then we have Law. This is a 5K leader with 4 life only, but it makes sense when you know its effect. Activate main once per turn, Dawn -3. You bottom deck one of your opponent's 3K or less cards, and then you get to play a 4 cost from your hand. Like this is insane. It's Dawn -3. You don't even pay Dawn for this effect. Oh my goodness. What do you think about this? I think he's the best
Yeah.
of the bunch.
I think bottom deck your blocker play Rush Zoro is like pretty good for free. Like this guy this guy is scary. Out of all the ones that I'm seeing, my mind is thinking of these. You also have the new Pell, which is a 4 cost, and that's a super good card as well. Like any 4 cost red card is getting a buff, and like I said, Zoro is a 3 cost, but you can play Zoro with this too. It has Rush. So many good, just good plays, and then of course with Otama, we can start hitting 5K. So it's just like, this dude is kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie.
Also have access to purple, so you get things like 4 mana 5K blockers in the form of Black Maria that's just hard to remove, or
Yep,
some of the older things, newer things. Like don't forget, all the red cards are great, but you also get access to purple cards. This
that's true.
this card feels like the most versatile of the 3, and probably the scariest, at least in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah, like yeah, well, you could even get Uta blocker. It's just there's a ton of
Oh,
stuff. This guy is extremely versatile, and this one's scary. I like Kid, but I got my eye on this one for sure.
absolutely. All right, thanks everybody. Those are the 3 new cards. We'll try to do a few more of these as more cards get revealed.
All right, peace.